back to school coverage is underway, and we want to, of course, welcome in the superintendents from 3 area counties. We have Spartanburg, Anderson, and Greenville represented with Dr. Burke Royster of Greenville County Schools. We have Dee Christopher, who is with the Anderson School District 4, and Dr. Randall Gary, who is with Spartanburg District 5, to talk about the issues that are facing our students and our leaders in this community as we welcome in a new school year. Are you guys pumped for a new year?
We're excited to get going.
Yeah.
It's here. It's upon us. We're ready.
It's our new year. Just like January 1, every year we get the opportunity to start over, start anew, and learn from the past, but continue to move forward. It's a great time.
What would you say, Dr. Royster, and let's go down the line, is the #1 issue facing your district?
Well, the #1 issue is the one that's facing school districts nationally, regionally, statewide, and I think probably all of us locally, and that is finding a sufficient number of quality teachers to put a great teacher in every classroom in our district. That's becoming a more and more challenging responsibility that we have, and all of us are doing a lot of different things to encourage more into the teaching profession, to help transition people from other professions into teaching. But I think quality teachers, quality personnel across the board is a great challenge for all of us right now.
Yeah, I think just so I don't repeat what Dr. Royster said, I would agree with that. #1 challenge for us. In Anderson 4, Little Pendleton, small school district, growth is happening for probably the first time ever. And that is becoming a challenge for us as we move forward. So planning for what's coming is really important. But yeah, teacher shortage is something that's affecting all of us.
And growth requires more teachers, which
Absolutely.
makes the problem even more difficult. Dr. Gary, what about you?
No doubt about it. I mean, the teacher shortage is nationwide. South Carolina, Spartanburg County is no different. We're feeling that pinch right in District 5. But in addition to the teacher shortage, we're really trying to find bus drivers. We're trying to find all qualified staff. So we're looking for bus drivers. So if you want to drive a bus, we got a spot for you in District 5, and I'm sure these gentlemen do as well. But it's another challenge. To not mention the growth that we've been seeing in Spartanburg 5. The numbers of students probably hasn't grown as much as with Greenville, but the percentage of students that are coming to our district certainly has. It's been astronomical over the past year.
Yeah, for your size district, you're all similarly experiencing growth, right?
We're all, we're 1,000 to 1,800 students a year, but proportionally, these guys they're experiencing those same problems. So we're hiring, this summer we'll hire 600 plus teachers. About 80 of those are brand new positions.
Wow.
Just related
To
to
the
growth.
growth.
So addressing turnover and growth, constant challenge for us. And we're all 3 very fortunate. We're in districts where we pay well. Some of the top pay in our case, we're in the top 3 in the state, what we pay teachers. We're at the top in what we pay other employees, and I know they're in similar situations, but we still are struggling to get enough bus drivers.
Yeah, you still can't get them.
Custodians,
Yeah.
get enough teachers.
And we run the job fairs that you guys announce all the time about bus drivers needed, people in the cafeteria, all these critical roles. What impact, I know I've heard from some parents on Facebook who are like, I just want my kid to get home before 6 p.m. I mean, it creates a stress not only on the system, but also the ability for students to do their work and study and all those things, right?
It's definitely a domino effect. So even when you are fully staffed on a good day, if something happens, there's an accident on the highway or somebody's out sick and there's not an alternate person to run that route, you find yourself having to do a double route.
Yeah.
So when it starts with elementary schools being delayed because we're short a driver or two, that also means when the middle and the high school routes get out, they're going to be delayed as well. But we've made a lot of ground. We've hired a lot of good people. We don't have any extra people, but we're obviously looking for more. First day of school is right around the corner from us.
And I think for us, the scale is different from Spartanburg 5 and Greenville County. We're a small district. We're going to have over 3,100 students this year, most we've ever had in our district's history. But the scale is different, but the problems are still the same.
Yeah.
So we're struggling with bus drivers and finding those folks, and we're a rural place too. So getting to all those small areas around our little school district is difficult. It takes a long time sometimes.
A lot of parents, out of frustration, and I've been there, we all have, will post on social media that, oh, I can't believe this is going wrong or that is going wrong with the schools. What do you want parents to do? Like, how can they take their frustration and turn it into problem solving, you know, and fixing the problem.
Yeah, I want them to call us.
Yeah.
We're small enough that we want our folks to call us, let us know where the issues are, let us get to those things. We've been very adept at dealing with the issues that we have. We're not perfect. Yeah. We're still people too, right? Mm-hmm. So we're gonna make some mistakes and we're gonna not communicate sometimes the way we should, but we're working really, really hard to take care of our students and take care of all of our employees.
And I can tell you, I've seen some of the Facebook posts. I had a joke I used to tell to parents that if you don't believe everything your kid tells you to happen, we promise not to believe everything they tell us to happen to school. I mean, at home as well. But once you get in school, when these things come up, for example, we know traffic when we start, it's going to be an issue the first few weeks, no matter how perfect everything else is, or whatever your other concerns are. We have great principals in our district. Reach out to them. Reach out to your child's teacher. Start there. Go to the principal. And a lot of these times, most of the time, those are issues or concerns that the principals at the school level can help you through, talk through. And if not, by all means, we have a district staff that would be more than happy to assist you as well.
Dr. Royster, it becomes frustrating, right? Because you can't fix it if you don't know.
Yeah, and regardless of size, we're 3,000 students, or we're serving 78,000. The families of 78,000 students. We want you to contact us. Have a problem in the classroom, first reach out to the teacher. Got a problem in the school, first reach out to the principal. Have a problem at the district level, or for some reason it seems not to be resolved or not responded to quickly enough at the school level, contact us. We have 2 employees at the district level, ombudsman for the district. Their entire job is to deal with problems and issues and to help get them resolved, and to get them resolved in a speedy and appropriate manner. We also have the expectation of all of our employees that they respond to inquiries, requests, or concerns within 24 hours. Now, sometimes if it's a complicated issue, that might mean reaching out and saying, hey, I've got to look into this and we'll be back to you within this amount of time. But they should receive a response in 24 hours. And so often, social media can be helpful, but a lot of times it's just a speedy way to pass along misinformation. Mm-hmm. People have assumed a conclusion or assumed an answer when in fact that may not be the right answer. Gotcha. We want to get them the right answer and get them help with their issue.
You all have a tremendous experience as community leaders and school leaders, and maybe even personal experience having students of your own in your own homes. So let's talk a little bit about the parents trying to set their kids up for success this year. If you, with all that wisdom now that you maybe didn't even have when you were a parent of a student, what would you tell a parent as the #1 thing to set their kid up for success this year? Go for each of you, your point.
Well, I think kind of a short list. Find out the expectations of the teacher in the school.
Okay.
Help your child to understand those expectations and prepare them to meet those expectations. I think that would be one very important thing for parents to do. When their children come home in the afternoon, ask them not just how did the day go, tell me something you learned today. Mm-hmm. Tell me something you did that you enjoyed today. Engage them in some conversation about their experience at school. And read to them and encourage them to read. If there is one single key to student academic success across all disciplines, it's the ability to read well, and more importantly really than that is to enjoy reading and engage in it. I think those are some kind of a short list of things.
Yeah, and I think the same thing. The engagement of your student at home is really, really important. So having those conversations, even our older high school kids.
I know, I was about to say, the teenagers don't want to talk.
They don't, but they need their parents to be engaged in what's going on with their lives.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with what Dr. Royster said. The idea of reading all along the way, asking those questions about what's going on in school. Those things are so important and so valuable to those students because they don't know it all yet.
Sure.
A lot of them think they may, but they just don't. We know that we didn't know it, and we still don't know it. But that to me, just that engagement of kids, students when they get home is so very important. I know people have busy lives and they're going here and there. but there needs to be an opportunity. And I had all three of my children were at my high school that I was the principal at.
Oh, wow.
So it was really,
That's interesting.
it was crazy for them. My dad was my high school principal too. Those were easy opportunities for me.
Yeah.
Because I saw them
All the
during the
time.
day. So, but everybody needs to be engaged with their kids.
Well, not to be absolutely repetitive to what that they're saying, because they've said some great things, but kind of to echo, but also to add on.
Sure.
Please do not minimize the impact of things outside of school and the impact they're having on your child. Things that are happening in the community, things that are happening on social media. So the engagement of your child is very important, asking them how was their day, not just academically, but socially. What are you doing?
Yeah.
How are your friends? Find out who they are. And you're right, they will get to a point where they don't really want to engage in those types of conversations. So sometimes it's a challenge getting a response, but that's very important, just establishing and maintaining that relationship and making sure that your parents can see you as a partner of the school.
I told my kids when they were in the 8th grade, there's going to be times over the next 5 years where you don't like me a whole lot, and I was okay with that.
Yeah. It's part of the gig.
Yep.
You know, it's part of parenting. Let's talk a little bit about mental health, since you kind of touched on that, right? The outside things and the school things can all lead to some challenges for mental health. All the schools have kind of, raised the bar on what they're doing. Is there something new that parents can expect on the mental health front, or something that's accentuated or accelerated this year, Dr. Royster?
Well, we've got mental health counselors, and have had for several years now, assigned to every school in the district. We are in a pilot program this year to take over some of those delivery of those mental health services internally, to expand our ability to offer them to all students.
Wow.
One thing that we found to be a barrier, there is no issue with getting services to students that are Medicaid eligible, because the payment is there for those services. Those have been handled traditionally for us through Greenville Mental Health, the State Department of Mental Health. Very few private insurance providers cover mental health, and if they do, it's really pretty minimal coverage. Then if you don't have that kind of insurance and you don't qualify for Medicaid, those are students that we found were kind of falling through the cracks. So we're working in kind of a new way to do some of this internally to try to make certain that we can cover the mental health needs for all of our students, regardless of whether they can qualify for Medicaid or their insurance provides coverage. Because again, there's some families that they just can't afford to pay for that service, but they don't have some other fail-safe to pay for it.
In Anderson?
We've got mental health counselors available to all of our schools. We partner with AOP Mental Health in Anderson, and also our county school board has a couple of mental health counselors that we serve, and then we have our own that coordinates all of those services together. But we've changed this year, going into this year. We're going to do some checkups throughout the year with a self. We created our own diagnostic tool to use with our students, which we think is going to give us a better indication of the needs of individual students going forward. So that's really what we've changed. But we've done a really good job over the last year, especially with some of the simple changes that we made to serve as many students as we possibly can.
Sure.
Through the Medicaid, but also all of our students. We've got them in the schools so we can help them.
Yeah. There was a point we ran into some of the same challenges that Dr. Royster talked about making sure that the assistance for our mental health counsel was available to all students. And a couple of years ago, we kind of worked through a process of renegotiating our contract with Spartanburg County Mental Health. That went very well. They've been a great partner with us. So we do use some of their mental health counselors. We have some that are employed by the district. And this year, and we also have in our community the Middle Tiger Community Center that offers mental health counseling and resources and other types of things. And we've also this year, our board has funded for us to bring on a school district social worker to help parents and help students get access to the resources that they need. So we're doing a lot of the same things, but we're also competing for a lot of the same people. Just as we talked about the shortage of teachers and bus drivers, mental health, social work is one of those areas too, where it's been a challenge sometimes getting someone to fill those needs.
some of the parents too, I posted, hey, I'm talking to the superintendents, what do you want to ask? And I know school security is always a concern for parents, right? They want their kids to be safe in school. But one of the moms pointed out, she said, I just want to be able to take like my kindergartner into the first day of class. And in some places you can't do that. So how do you balance like the need to have parents involved and in the schools with the keeping the place secure?
Well, I think one of the things is, in all of our elementary schools allow kindergarten parents, or in a lot of cases we have 4-year-old programs too.
Gotcha.
So it's their first experience coming to school.
Gotcha.
They'll allow them to come in that first day. What that means for the school is they have to increase their level of supervision to ensure that that person coming in is in fact the parent coming in with a child, and that they go to the appropriate place directly in the school and that they leave there. It just requires a higher level of supervision, which they provide. And then there's a time when, after that first day, we need to come back off of that for a couple of reasons. One being, the best thing for the child is for that to discontinue after the first day in almost every circumstance.
Right, developing that autonomy to be able to go through the school day.
They're accustomed to coming in there. They don't have that that separation that they go through every day. And if you allow that to go past the first day or so, it really makes that situation worse for that child.
Gotcha.
And it can make it more difficult for the parent to let go after they've done it. You've dropped your baby off, and if you walked to me in 2 or 3 days, and now we're at a week, it might be more difficult on the parent sometime than the child. So,
And we don't take that trust for granted either.
Sure.
Right? I mean, it's a daily event for us to gain trust of our families that share their kids with us every day.
And the technology is changing. I know a lot of districts don't want to talk about specifics with technology, but like AI, for example, is helping to keep track of more people walking through these detectors and things to keep kids safe as they go into school. So there are new technologies in play that are making things safer. Is that fair to say?
yeah, that's fair to say. It differs by the level. You know, some of the things that you may see at a high school, you may not see in an elementary school. But there are other checks and balances at the elementary school to help control that environment of who's in and out and how they're accessing the building. Because you have a Muffins for Mom event or a breakfast with your grandparents, it can bring a lot of parents to school. But it's important for us that we're bringing that they're the real parents and they're coming with real intention, with the good intentions, and most are. And our parents really hadn't pushed back because they do appreciate us making sure that we are taking care of the security of their child.
Gotcha. Well, a new year is here. We're wishing you all the best.